Hey, I'm Will Boyd.
And I'm Jordan Mather.
And this is the Clinical Marketer Podcast, made for healthcare innovators, practice builders, trailblazers, shot takers, and clinical entrepreneurs of all kinds.
Those who want to grow their businesses, challenge the status quo, and make their greatest contribution as a clinical professional.
Follow along as we discover, implement, and teach the best healthcare marketing strategies of today so you can stay on top of ever-changing landscape without spending hours of muddling through YouTube videos, experimenting with your own money, or living at the mercy of referrals.
Welcome to the Clinical Marketer Podcast. Hey, what's up guys? It's Jordan. Right now you can claim one of our 500 free Golden Key USBs that are chock full of our very best new patient ads, landing pages, and follow messages that we're using to get new patients in the doors of practices all over the country using Facebook ads. You can go claim your free Golden Key at freegoldenkey.com. Welcome everybody. Today we have Aaron LeBauer, the man that literally owns the trademark and wrote the book on Cash PT. He's the owner of LeBauer Physical Therapy, runs one of the most sought after physical therapy coaching programs in the world, LeBauer Consulting, and hosts the podcast, Cash PT Lunch Hour, and is the founder of PT BizCon, one of the largest healthcare physical therapy live events in the US. So today we're breaking ground with Aaron on our first ever Clinical Marketer Podcast to share with you his knowledge and experience around what it takes to launch a successful cash-based practice. Aaron, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, Jordan. Will, thanks for having me on your show. I'm really excited, and I'm stoked to be like episode 1 or early on in the series. This is really great. So thank you so much.
Dude, we couldn't think of a better person to have on the very first show, someone who's built their cash practice literally from scratch, starting in school, all the way up to now hiring, scaling, and growing. And what we've learned is you can't do that without marketing, and you can't do that without sales. And if somebody can, we'd love to meet you because that would be amazing. But that's why we brought in someone like Aaron, who's done it over and over and over again, has had so much success. So Aaron, we're super excited to dive in today. And welcome to the show.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for making my ego feel really good.
Our pleasure, man. Thank you so much for being here. So I was wondering, when you first got started, after reading your book and just consuming your content over the last several years, I mean, you came right out of PT school, started a practice right away. And did you think when you first started all this stuff, when you switched from being a massage therapist, moving into PT, that it would turn into everything you got going on today?
No, I had no idea. I just was like, I wanted to go to PT school to be better for my patients because I didn't know how to predict when my patients were going to get better. That was the big problem I had as a massage therapist is people were coming to see me when they hadn't found relief from their PT, chiro, massage, injections, medication, surgery, and I was helping them, but I couldn't predict when they would get better. I didn't have that ability, and I didn't have the ability to, take them all the way. And then I went to PT school, and I was like, I'm just going to get out and have a job, and I'll just be a good PT. I got all these other skills, and the reality of that changed when I was in school.
I believe it.
I would love to. So Aaron, I'd love to go back to that because you started your own massage therapy business first, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Will you take us back to your first days starting that practice and how you marketed for your massage therapy business when you started?
Yeah.
What was that like when you first opened up?
Oh, so really it's funny. The first day that I started was the first day of massage therapy school when they basically said to us, we're going to teach you how to be great massage therapists and love the work, love your work or whatever their motto was. And you're going to go open up a massage practice because, at that time, 22 years ago, you didn't just go get a massage degree and become an employee. You maybe worked in a spa, but you had a private practice. That was like day one. I was like, oh, okay. So we're going to go do this. And they taught us how to do that. But how I marketed it was I created it. I didn't do very well, but I created it. And I would, I shared it with my friends. Hey, I'm doing massage. If anyone wants a massage, I'm here. And then the most important book that I read in my career was when I had a clinic where I had a rental space in the Marina District in San Francisco. And I was trying to figure out how do I get more patients to come in other than the people I know, my teammates and their friends and my neighbors and their friends, etc. And I picked up Jay Conrad Levinson's book, Guerrilla Marketing. Nice. And I'm sure it's been updated now to include online social media stuff. But at the time, the internet was new, and it was new in California, and all it was a one-page business card online. That's all it was. 1728 Union Street, union.com, I think, was the site that I shared with the esthetician who owned the space and let me rent a room there. But I worked in a spa, and if people weren't my friends, it was people that came to the spa and said, "Hey, Aaron, do you do this? Can you come to my house? Do you do this so I don't have to come to the spa? Because I'd rather you work on me and you get all the money." And that's how I got some private clients to start.
Cool.
Nice. And I know just from going like way back into just like your stories that you've told of how you got started. When you first started, before you even went into PT, as a massage therapist, you're getting paid like $85 an hour. And one of the reasons you went into Cash PT was because you realized that your starting salary was starting pay was like $35 an hour.
Yeah.
So did you start out charging $85 an hour, or did it take like a gradual process to be able to start doing that?
You mean for massage therapy?
Yeah.
When I was in San Francisco, I think, let's see, the going rate was about $75 an hour. So there was one yoga studio that would charge 65. The spa I worked at charged 85 or 90. So in my private practice, I said, okay, look, I'm going to charge $75. And I did that for a while. And then I went up to 80. And then the recession hit. Actually, the recession didn't hit. The dot-com bubble burst. So this is before the recession. The dot-com bubble burst. And people were like, oh, $80, I don't know. So I was like, all right, I'll do 75. And people didn't have any problems. And that was the first lesson in pricing strategy. We moved to North Carolina, and I was like, I'm going to charge 85. And I didn't have a problem with it. And people were like, okay. It was still more than the going rate, which was $65. And it was still less than the spa, which would be 95 for a spa massage. And I'm charging 85. And when I went to look at jobs in PT, at the hospital or around here, they were like advertising $35 an hour. And I was like, if I'm going to treat patients the way that I know they need to be treated after my 6 years of experience doing massage, why am I going to go take a 50% pay cut? And the hospital's not going to let me treat patients the way I want to treat them anyways. So I got to go start a practice.
Right. Yeah. So when you do that, when you go through PT school, you're thinking, I'm going to come out with even more value than when I was a massage therapist, right? I'm going to have all these extra skills. The thinking we all have, which is, oh my gosh, these skills are going to be so much more valuable in the marketplace. And then you get into the marketplace, and it turns out if there's not a cash option, they're actually less valuable than if you know how to go sell and do those things. Will you walk us through when you start your cash practice in your first cash practice for PT was in North Carolina, right? The one you have.
Yes.
Now? Yep. Okay. So you went from selling $85 an hour massage therapy or massage packages, massage visits in North Carolina. When you go to do your cash practice, will you just take us through your mindset of what it's like when you're coming up with your first rates as a physical therapist, as this cash practice, given your previous experience? Yeah,
it was really difficult. But here's the thing is so I started practice in San Francisco. We moved to San Luis Obispo on the Central Coast. I started again there, and we moved to North Carolina. I started practice then. Went to PT school, 6-month clinical rotation in California. My practice was dead, so I started over again in February of 2009 when I basically started my PT clinic. And what I did this time was I said, okay, well, I'm a doctor of physical therapy, so people are going to pay me $10 more. And there are 2 reasons I didn't charge over $100. Number one, everyone at that time told me no one's going to pay more than their copay for PT, and copays were $25. I had a couple clinical mentors who didn't tell me no, and they were encouraging me, but they didn't have cash practices. They couldn't really guide me on what to charge, but pretty much everyone around me, classmates, my professors, the people I was with day to day those last 6 months were not really supportive. When I went to look to figure out how do I start a practice, there was nothing online. I went and bought all the stuff through PPS and did their trainings, and they weren't speaking to the type of business I was trying to start and create. So the second reason I didn't charge more than $100 is because I did find a clinical mentor. He happened to live in like a major city where they were charging $200 something a visit, but he helped me get started. It was a 3-month type of program, but he didn't help me he didn't say to me, Aaron, you're charging too little. He helped with raising, with setting your prices. So there was so much doubt around whether this was going to work for me that I decided, well, if I'm Dr. LeBauer, people are going to at least pay $10 more a visit. So that's why I went to 95. I can tell you right now, anyone who's charging 95 right now for 60 minutes or 45 minutes of physical therapy like I was is way undercharging and not doing a service to themselves or their patients. But at the time, like everyone told me, no, it's even unethical. I was like, well, look, I'm just going to add $10 more. And then, people paid. And over time, now we charge a whole lot more than that. But how do you start? Like, that's how I started. But today, like, how do you start? You got to look at the transformation you're giving people. What's the result I'm getting and what's that worth to them in their life? I'm not fixing a shoulder. I'm helping them get back to exercise so that they can feel strong and healthy and present with their kids and good role models for their children, present with their spouse and good role models for their children. I'm really helping them get to that level. And for that, a couple $1,000s is totally worth it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I love it. I want to ask you real quick, Aaron, how did you get, will you walk us through what were the marketing strategies that you got to your first, let's say 25 patients? Like what were you doing week in, week out, day in, day out in order to drum up? I think that's one of the hardest things for startup business owners is they can't even see the light of getting those first 20, 25. And once you do that, then we hit this momentum, right? And it's like, okay, I can see it. I can repeat processes. What did you do in that sort of no man's land in the beginning when it's all new? What were these guerrilla marketing strategies you were using?
Right.
And how are they? Let's just start there because I might want to go into
it's the stuff that no one wants to do, and everyone says it's not going to be successful, and there's got to be an easier way, right? But there's not. So what did I do? I created a list, and this is even before Jordan told me about the Dream 100. I created a list. I had a list of about 50 people in Greensboro that were personal trainers, business owners, health food store owners, et cetera, who had my customers. I created a list of them, and I knew that I needed to have a lead magnet. Okay, even in 2009, I had a lead magnet. I started my business with a back pain ebook. I've had about 5 or 6 different back pain ebook versions, and I had an email list. And so my goal was to build my email list and to create connections. And one of the ways that I'm creating connections is by offering, my free book or my email list. I put out at some of those, I would go walk. This is something I did in San Francisco. I just walk up and down and just get a feel for the neighborhood. If I wasn't seeing a patient, I wasn't sitting in my office. I was walking up and down, checking out all the stores, trying to meet the business owners. I showed up here's the funny story. This is trying to get my massage therapy business like even busier. Is there was a new tanning, like sunless tanning salon in the Marina District. And I went and I talked to the owner. We had a great time, having a good connection. I'm like, thinking like, oh yeah, this is great. She's like, oh, well, you want to try the tan? And I was like, I got red hair. I got tan. She's like, and she goes, and I was like, as long as you come get a massage for me and we make it a trade, it's a deal. So I give her a massage gift certificate. I get this spray tan, and I show up at this party that night to meet my wife. And she's like, what's wrong with you? Because it was like 9 o'clock. It was dark. She's like, what? I was like, I got a spray tan today. And this woman never came to get a massage, and she never sent any patients my way. But sometimes there are things you got to do, and no one wants to go out and do the hard work. They just want to They just want to do Facebook ads and get Facebook to bring them people. And it's such a hard route to do that. It's expensive and it's hard. Facebook's making it harder and harder, but creating personal connections with people and giving them something of value first, like some time, asking questions, opportunity to share their ebook with people. That's what I did to get this thing off the ground, to get my first 25 people. There wasn't anything really else that did it.
So, and I want everyone to write that down. You should never start your marketing with paid advertising. That's for scaling what you already know what works. You have to figure out what works before you do that. And you do that by exactly what Aaron. So I think a lot of people, that's a lot of people's nightmare, actually, just like doing cold walk-ins to other businesses. How did you find it difficult at first, or did you find a way to do it without seeming like you're just asking for handouts? And how would you approach that?
Yeah, it's tough. And, it's easier nowadays than it was 10 years ago. Social media makes it easier. I go follow someone on Instagram, shout them out, give them a bunch of hearts and loves and stuff. And we were creating a connection. I meet in person and they like know who I am. So much easier now. And people still don't want to do it. Was it hard? Yeah, it's hard, but I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for my patients, the people that need me, the people that have told me over and over again, Aaron, you're the first person to touch me where I hurt. You're the first person to actually help me and give me hope. And I've been to see all these other places. Like, I'm doing it for the next person. So is it hard? Yeah, it sucks. Does anyone want to be rejected? No. I hate being rejected. I hate being unloved and not liked. Right? Yeah. But it's not about love and like, it's not personal. It's business. You got to go get to know people, and it's not easy, but all you got to do is ask them questions because they're just as uncomfortable, if not more than you are.
So after the first, is that the primary way you got patients after the first 25? Is that what got you?
So after the first 25, so it's, yes. So number one, I did stuff like I went and put ballot boxes around, with, instead of mailing postcards out, instead of Dan Kennedy style postcards, there were Dan Kennedy style ballot boxes. Here's the problem. You're going to get a free back pain ebook. And I put them at restaurants and go collect them. And I didn't get a lot of leads that way. But so there was that part. And then there was creating blog content, creating YouTube videos. And my goal was to be number one for physical therapy, back pain, and massage therapy in Greensboro on a Google search. And I was for a long time. It's funny, my wife just sent me a message yesterday. She said, Aaron, when I search for massage in Greensboro, we don't even come up. Well, we were until about 2 or 3 years ago, and the massage therapists are getting hip to this thing, and I haven't done any work on that. And so, that's our next goal. But we're still top 3, top 2 for physical therapy. And the reason we're not number 1 is because someone else has Greensboro Physical Therapy as their URL and business name. But that was the next stage was meeting people and creating content. So, I wrote articles on e-zine articles and HubSpot and a couple of these other places that probably aren't really relevant today. If someone wants to do it now, Medium is probably a better location to do that. Yeah, I did all that stuff.
What I love the most is that you took action and were active in your business. So I think so many of us want to default to the blog writing, right? It's passive. I don't have to face rejection. It's just, if anything's going to reject me, it's just the computer. And maybe I check my analytics and then I blame it, and I blame the technology and I blame these things because we're just afraid to go do the active thing, which is, hi, Aaron, I'm Will. I'm new. I'm a business owner here, and I just want to learn from other business owners. Looks like you guys have got a great shop. I just wanted to introduce myself and say hi and see if there's anything. I'm going to have clients and they might need what you have. I'd love to just build a connection. Oh gosh, what if they say no? What if they tell me to leave? I just love that you were doing that. The ballot boxes, that's so cool. You just did that, right? You said you didn't get a ton of leads, but who knows? It might have been the thing that got a ton of leads, but we don't know until you try.
Right.
And I'm curious, because I want to transition to that's how you got started with your first 25. And I think that's so much groundwork, right? You have to put yourself out there. And then you start to hit this point. And it's been so fun to watch your journey over the last 2 or 3 years where you get to a point where that's working. Word of mouth kicks in more. You're getting busier. And now you're at a place where Aaron physically can't go out and network all the time because Aaron's actually busy doing the treating. What do you then recommend to your students, or what type of marketing did you start to implement when you didn't have as much disposable time? Ideally, you have more money coming in because you're actually treating patients. What did you then focus on, or what do you recommend focusing on for people who start to hit that wall where it's I just don't have the time to get out to do the workshops like I used to because I'm actually seeing people?
Right. So there's 2 things to do. Is backing up a little bit from being busy is making your website work for you and cultivating word of mouth through email marketing, automated sequences of an email. Okay. You might be so busy that you don't have time to go do that, and that's fine. But when you get busy and you get a wait list, there's not a marketing strategy that you need to do to grow. It's a business strategy. You need to fire yourself. You need to fire your ego and hire another therapist. And at some point, you're going to get to this like rev limiter where some weeks you're busy and then you're empty and busy and empty and busy and empty. And you're like, empty, I'll do a little marketing and then I'm really busy. And you might have a waiting list, but your week's still bouncing around because there's only so many spots on your schedule. And the week when you have 30 people on the schedule, 4 or 5 people, invariably like cancel or reschedule for next week and you have this big hole. Yeah. Well, that's when you still need to buy your time back. And that's what I'm teaching my students right now. And what I didn't do, because I wasn't working with a coach and a mentor for those first few years, because I didn't have anyone that I felt knew the business or knew what I needed to do. I was in figure it out mode. And I was scared. I was scared to do it because everyone up until that first 5 years told me this isn't possible. And at 5 years, I was like, hey, wait a minute. It's been 5 years. This thing works. Now it's time to reevaluate. And I did, but the thing to do now is if you're busy and you have a wait list, like why make people wait to get help? Or I'm not that good. I can hire and train someone to be just as good, if not better than me. And it's time to fire myself, bring them in, give them as many of my patients as possible so that I can now do more marketing and business growth and put in the systems that I need to go even bigger.
Is there any sort of like numbers that you coach your students on? When you hit this is when you should start to look to fire yourself and bring on someone else?
That's a great question. And there's not a magic, like I've had people get to 10 to 15 people a week and hire someone else to see them. And some people wait until they're 30 patients a week, 25 patients a week in a 6-week waiting list. That's too long. And I've been through it myself where it's like, wow, this month, September, man, we've got 30 people on, therapist schedule. Like, is this a trend or is this back to school? And it's like, okay, so sometimes you need to wait a couple months to see, like, is it like an aberrant thing or is it back to school? I had a December once where 5 or 6 people visiting family from out of town came in and got a bunch of treatment. And it was our busiest month of the year. And it was the biggest month of the year in just 3 weeks, but it wasn't normal. So once like this is steady, 2 or 3 months minimum, right? I mean, I don't want to stunt anyone's growth. And some people are like, they can see this trend is happening more than just like 4 weeks. Then what you got to do is understand, okay, how much is my time worth? It's not a number of patients. It's what's my time worth. Maybe you're a mom and you only want to see 12 people a week. Well, all of a sudden you got 20 people on your schedule. You're unable to pick up your kids. Well, you know what? It's perfect time to hire another mom who wants to work part-time to see 10 to 15 of those patients. I'm seeing 5. I pick up my kids and I can drum up another 10 really easily. Or, look, I'm young and single and I'm going to see 30 people and I'm busy. I get more phone. I don't have time to pick up the phone and answer and call people back. This is like what's happening with one of my mastermind students, Ben, and he's hired 2 other physical therapists in the last 3 months because he's growing and he's busy. And what he understands is it's not the numbers of patients, but it's my time's worth at least $250 an hour. And if I have to answer the phone or take out the trash or do these other things, I can hire someone else for $10, $15, $25 an hour to do that work. And then I can treat patients or I can go drum up more business. Because if I go do a marketing event and I bring in 5 to 20 new patients, that's $5,000 worth of business in an hour and a half. So when my time is worth more doing other things than treating patients, or I'm too busy with patients, I need to hire somebody.
Makes a lot of sense.
Does that come through clearer? Like,
Yeah.
Because it's not just saying, hey, when you have 30 patients and 10 people on the wait list, you need to hire. It's not that.
Yeah.
If you hit that critical mass where you can't really break through that point, that's when you got to do it. So that makes complete sense.
Yeah. And I want to dive into PT BizCon here in a second and all the things you've got going on. I do want to ask real quick, because you work with so many business owners and especially cash practice owners, do you feel that there is, what would you say if I made you have to vote right now? What do you feel like is the most underrated or overlooked marketing tool that people are not leveraging enough or not going into enough? Or what do you feel like people aren't tapping into enough that they should be?
Email. Well, there's sales, which is not marketing, but for marketing, it's email and copywriting. Everyone thinks, email is bothersome, blah, blah, blah. I don't like it, but it's the copywriting of the email you don't like and the sales strategy of the emails that you don't like. But email is still number one for patients and online business because everyone's going to open. And texting is probably next, but people are overlooking email because they think it's old, it's been there, but and open rates are lower, but they don't really understand the right things to say, how to deliver value, how to make it about the customer, not about them. Yeah. But email is the best marketing tool to deliver that. And everyone's scared of things like Entreport, Active Campaign, Infusionsoft, HubSpot, etc. But they've got a degree in physical therapy and they did neuroanatomy, and I barely passed neuroanatomy. And Active Campaign is actually easier than neuroanatomy because So that would be number one. If someone's not collecting emails, it's a big mistake, and if they're not messaging their list on a regular basis, it's another mistake. And it works for patients and online businesses. People put out stuff, and it's the copywriting on the posts and the way that they're asking for the sale is just like backwards. It's off-putting because they're telling me about their degree. They're not asking me and speaking to me. And it's a big skill that a lot of people are missing.
I love that you said that because I couldn't agree more. Everyone thinks email's dead when in reality they just don't feel like learning it's changed. Absolutely. Yes. Have you noticed like how it changed from when you maybe first started to what it is today? Just kind of a quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's kind of started and come back. So I started, it was personal, and then went through the period of everyone sending out these pretty newsletters, but no one wants a pretty newsletter. They want a personal message from you. So this plain and as simple and personal of a template you can make it, the better.
Yes, that's exactly what I was looking for. That's perfect. So let's talk a little bit about PT BizCon, because I think it's one of the biggest opportunities that not just people that are just starting practices, but people that are trying, that might be at that hiring stage and trying to get to the next level. One of the best opportunities out there to start getting this knowledge. So can you give a quick overview of what people are going to get out of PT BizCon, what it is?
Yeah. Number one, you're going to get connection with other people just like you, doing business in a way that's modern, effective, cutting edge. And it's not what most people are teaching. Because the problem is I would go out and try to learn from our industry. And it's like, they're not teaching me things that I need to know or learn about. They're going to help me grow my small cash practice. Yep. Even my 5-person cash practice. It's like, and so what I wanted to do is create an event that brings the best people from our industry and people from outside our industry, because I've had to learn a lot of my marketing and sales strategies from outside our industry and adapt them to physical therapy and healthcare, and bring them in to teach people the mindset, the thought process, and the number 1 or the top number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 that, business growth strategies and marketing strategies that are working now, not working 10 years ago, and not working for, huge corporations or corporate PT or hospital PT or franchise clinics, working for real clinics that are, 1 to 20 people big, and like the copywriting, the email marketing, the sales strategies, which like we've talked about, most people miss and people hate. They got to learn sales. And we're going to teach and talk about those things, as well as put people in the same room with others that think just like them.
Yeah. I'm so excited. So if you're listening to this right now and you get a chance, it's March 19th to March 21st in Charlotte. And it's going to be awesome. We got guys, obviously Aaron's going to be hosting and speaking. He's bringing in some insane speakers. Bedros Keuilian, the CEO and founder of Fit Body Bootcamp, which is just insane that Bedros is going to be there. Jessica Drummond, an absolute rock star in our field. We got Rick Lau, the Canadian Aaron LeBauer, as I like to think of. Doing some amazing stuff with his businesses. Tivona Boggs. We've got Trevor Bachmeyer, who's going to be there. We've got the Greg Todd, Urson Religioso, Nicole Cozine, some of the absolute heavy hitters in the field of physical therapy who are running their own practices, running their own businesses, and people from outside of it. I think Aaron's even going to have some of his students present and speak. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Aaron, what are you most excited about for this weekend or that weekend?
I'm excited about getting everyone together, about getting the Cash PT Nation together, about, having like everyone under one roof. And even like Thursday night on the 19th, we're doing a Cash PT social hour during the registration of the event. I think that's probably going to be the highlight of the event. But there's going to be some amazing stuff. I mean, I want to see, not only I want to see some of the speakers, but just having people in one place with opportunity to connect to each other, I think is one of the most powerful things. And it's really hard to do that in other areas, in other ways. So, and then we've got some secret things that we're going to be surprising people with that I'm secretly surprised about, but I'm not going to let those, out of the bag just yet. You just kind of show up and find out.
Love it. Yeah, I can't wait. Of course, Will and I are going to be there, and we're really freaking excited. We know we're going to learn a ton, and we can't wait to see a lot of familiar faces. Just curious, is this just for Cash PTs, or is this pretty much open? Would anyone?
It's open to all physical therapists who want to grow their business, and you can have an online business. You can be in network, you can be out of network, cash based, you can do mobile, concierge, or maybe you have like a business consulting other people. This is a business conference. And you can not be a physical therapist and come and get a ton out of this because, right? Most of what we teach, like, look, I teach physical therapy. I teach physical therapists how to create a cash practice because I'm a physical therapist and I create a cash practice. But along the way, I learned the essential business skills that weren't being taught in PT school or by the PT industry that's helped me create a successful business in a high friction purchase, a grudge purchase plus a lot more money. And if someone who has a lower friction business can learn half of what we've done, they're going to skyrocket their business. So.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Aaron, we're so excited to get to see you. I can't wait to see you speak. I can't wait to see you in your element. I've gotten to hang out with you at different conferences in the past. It's been a blast, man. You're like a walking rock star when you're at these conferences. So it's going to be awesome. And if you haven't met Aaron and you're coming, Aaron is super tall and you won't miss him. He's amazing. It's one of the things I think Aaron and I get in common the most is like, oh man, right. I didn't know you were that tall.
Yeah. You look a lot taller than I thought.
It's going to be absolutely awesome. Guys, if you want to go to ptbizcon.com. I had to practice that a few times before. ptbizcon.com to learn more. Or Aaron, if someone's like on the fence of, I don't know if this is right for me, who should they reach out to on your team, or how do they get in touch with someone
probably the best way is to go follow me and send me a message on Instagram. Okay. And, either myself or someone on my team will answer your questions. The biggest question most people have, I think, is, well, gosh, I have to travel across country to come there, don't I? I'm like, yeah, and no, there's no con ed, because what I'm teaching you are things that are going to help you grow your business and serve more patients. And those should be things that you want to do, not have to do. This isn't a place for people that have to go get something. It's for people that want to take their business. And yeah, you might have to arrange your schedule, invest a little money in travel, but we're going to teach you things that are going to add tens of thousands of dollars to your business and future earnings and future growth and help hundreds of thousands more people in the next few years.
Love it. Guys, if you want to get a hold of him, his Instagram handle is @Aaron LeBauer, AARONLEBAUER. Yeah. Definitely recommend getting in touch with him because everything he drops is incredibly valuable. So
thanks, guys.
There, PT BizCon.
Yeah, you get to hang out with Jordan and I as well. We'll be there. You get to learn from guys like Aaron, who's going to just deliver a ton of value. Aaron, we just want to say thank you so much for dropping knowledge bombs on us. I wasn't expecting email as the overlooked thing. So I learned something today that I wasn't expecting to hear, which is always awesome. Yeah. Dude, thank you for being the inaugural guest on the Clinical Marketer Podcast.
You're welcome. I'm incredibly honored. And hopefully once you guys get 1 million downloads, we'll share episode 1 again so it gets back in rotation.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Aaron. We will let you know when we hit that 1 million download mark. So if you're listening to this, that means you got to subscribe. You got to share this with your friends. You got to hit all the buttons. You know the deal. Hit the like button, hit the love button, hit the subscribe button, hit the follow button. And we will catch you on the next episode of the Clinical Marketer Podcast.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.